And in order to be around that kind of behavior, it took me dulling my senses.
My interest is always piqued, to put it mildly, when I hear somebody say, I woke up and she was dead.
What he's done in the past, because this is the exact same Brian.
Hayden Pannettiere's mother is anything but an angel, and they had a strained relationship for years. But while everyone considers her role, she's busy trying to reveal the true monster, Brian Hickerson, who she claims is the reason her only remaining child is dead. Before we discuss what Hayden's mother is saying, it's important to note why she is saying it, and the cause lies completely in the fact that Brian Hickerson is a monster who has wrapped himself in a creepy, smiling mask. He has a history of abuse, and has been suspected of even raising hands at his own old and frail father.
His history of abusing others, especially Hayden, was long and consistent. In October of 2018, in Greenville, South Carolina, police responded to a domestic assault in progress, a call involving Brian Hickerson and his father, David. A reporting based on the incident said that officers saw Brian chasing David through a kitchen. The father, David, had apparent blood and bruising, but said his injuries came from a fall and he declined medical care. Hayden was there. She was listed as a witness. No charges. It would appear that Brian's father refused to press. May 2nd, 2019, Los Angeles PD in Hollywood, the Hollywood Division, arrested Brian on suspicion of felony domestic violence.
Someone who doesn't hesitate to attack his father is obviously someone who has no qualms attacking his longtime girlfriend. Hayden and him had been dating on and off since 2018, so that's 8 years she spent under his grasp in a vicious cycle of abuse.
Involving Hayden. This would not be the only time. He was taken into custody at about 2:24 in the morning. He was held on $50,000 bail and released a day later. It's believed that Hayden bailed him out. He was charged, he pleaded not guilty, and the case was later dismissed after prosecutors could not secure a material witness. Then on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2020, this one is in her book that came out this past May. This is Me, A Reckoning by Hayden Pannettiere. Jackson, Wyoming, Teton County, the Teton County Sheriff's Office was notified of a disturbance at a Jackson home around 1:50 in the morning. Brian was arrested and booked on suspicion of domestic battery. The caller told police that an intoxicated man was locked out of the private residence because he had punched his girlfriend in the face. She told police that she had been in the bedroom with Hickerson when he, quote, started throwing her around and punching her. The documents state that Hayden's face was red and swollen and had a scrape and swelling on her left hand.
Hayden has admitted that she was not brought up to trust herself because of all the controlling people around her, especially her greedy mother, Leslie Vogel, and that caused her to often either cause things to fail early since she felt it was inevitable, or stay in terrible situations because she didn't trust her own gut.
It's been a really long road and a really hard road. And a really stressful road, trying to get back to that trust I had at one point when I was younger in myself, and how, knowing how important it is that you listen to yourself, that you listen to your gut. Every time that I have not listened to my gut, I have always regretted it. I found myself in a terrible position. The abuse, the fact that I allowed this person not only into my life.
She said point blank that she knew what Brian Hickerson was doing to her and was ashamed of having allowed it to go on for so long. But sometimes when you're stuck in a dark little world of your own making, it's hard to see the light everyone else sees.
For how long I put up with it. And this is a topic that I've been journaling a lot about it. Trying to organize my thoughts and my feelings. And I did journal last night, and for the first time I really feel like I was able to put into words what has been going on for the past decade of my life in regards to the abuse. And I was actually going to ask if I could read it, because I think it's really important this topic is really important for me. The more I thought about it and analyzed it, the more connections I made between the abuse I was allowing to transpire and the abuse I've gone through in my past. They say that you end up marrying one of your parents, and no, I'm not married, but I found a very interesting connection between this abusive behavior and my mother's abusive behavior. Even though they would both shake their heads and say I was crazy to think there was anything similar about the two of them, there definitely was. I realized that I was more afraid of being alone than being abused. And in order to be around that kind of behavior, it took me dulling my senses.
It doesn't make it any less suspicious that she was with him before her death, when just a few months ago in May, her security was told to keep Brian Hickerson away from her during her book tour. Her memoir, This Is Me, The Reckoning, details several of his constant abuse.
Sunday, reporting that, first of all, Hayden Pannettiere had private security to keep Brian Hickerson away from her during the book tour, which was in May. May. We're not talking about ancient history.
Yeah.
So she was so concerned about him and his behavior just a few months ago that she was telling the bookstores where she was appearing to promote the book, do not let in a man named Brian Hickerson. Obviously, reports the Times, and we all know now that they eventually resumed their tumultuous on and off relationship. But during that book tour, she had private security who was under strict instructions not to let him anywhere near her. She would wall herself off from family when she was with Hickerson, reports the Times, writing, Mr. Hickerson was a persistent source of conflict in the final year of a life weighed down by grief, addiction, agoraphobia, and physical pain that sometimes made it difficult for Ms. Panettiere to walk.
Experts even say that stressful relationships are the #1 reason for addicts to fall back into opiates. And it probably didn't help that Brian was a druggie himself rather than a sober person who could actually help.
But the other thing is relationships. Relationships take people out, I'm using that terminology again, all the time. The stress of relationship, they get involved with other addicts, their priority of their recovery diminish. And that's kind of what I hear the mom saying. Unfortunately, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And so...
Did you drive her into the arms?
Not even that so much, is that maybe the only lifeline she had was her mom, and that she was the one watching and could have... You worry about withdrawing from... It's technically the right thing to do because you love people to death. That's sort of the codependency saying. But you have to, when you leave, it has to be managed very carefully, and only when the risk is worth it, when there's no other alternative. And I don't know, I feel terrible for the whole.
Hayden was also caught by Brian when she was in a very dark place in her life. She started dating him in 2018, when she had just given up custody of her beloved daughter Kaya to her ex-fiance because of her postpartum depression and substance abuse.
After I had my daughter, that I really realized that something was very wrong. And as you know, I went through postpartum depression.
The star was overcome with postpartum depression after the birth of her daughter in 2014. She says the loneliness she felt at that time fueled her alcohol dependency.
I didn't have any negative feelings towards my child. I just knew I was deeply depressed. And I didn't know where, the alcoholism was ending and postpartum was beginning. And I ran myself pretty ragged.
So where did you turn to for support?
The bottom of a bottle. It's not like people were pulling me aside and going, hey, you might want to go to a doctor and check on this depression stuff, because usually alcohol and drugs can be a symptom of what you're going through.
She tried her best to work on herself and even made a comeback in 2022. She stated at the time that she had truly gotten better, though she had struggled following the birth of her child because people thought she was crazy.
What do you think are the biggest misunderstandings about postpartum depression?
The biggest misunderstanding that I found was that there were a lot of people who didn't believe it. They just thought I was being a crazy woman, an overly emotional female, and that it was my choice whether or not to be depressed. And it was so out of my control.
What did it take to get you to this place that you are today?
It took going to treatment, making a lot of great friends in treatment who can speak on your same level where you don't feel like you're crazy.
How are you today?
I'm good. It's an everyday battle. It really is. I'm grateful to say that I'm sober today.
sober and connecting on a whole new level with her 7-year-old daughter, Kaya.
I can only imagine.
But growing up in the spotlight with cameras at her around the clock and people asking personal questions like she owed them did not help her mental well-being.
Feeling pampered or what?
Oh, yeah.
All right, what's your status on men getting their nails done and stuff? Does Klitschko get a manicure, pedicure or no? I need him to validate me doing it.
He's pretty self-sufficient, so.
Yeah?
No, but I know plenty that do. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Does he do the eyebrows waxing or I know the chest is pretty bare from the fights, but.
Nah, all natural.
You like the manscape or no?
Whoa!
Have a good one, Hayden.
It takes concentration.
You're pretty skilled at this.
You try wearing stilettos. You're gonna walk down this eagle line. Oh, almost. No, good.
Hayden, that's good though.
And Brian Hickerson's presence made everything 10 times worse. When we call him a creep, we're not exaggerating. Her mother might not be very nice, but if there's one point she's right on, it's the fact that Brian was a bad influence.
And I mean, I think it speaks for itself. I mean, I got arrested for, abusing her, and I wouldn't blame her friends for being pissed off at me. So, I don't really have much to say on that. Well, coming from a former landscaper, which I was, all you got to do is spray some Roundup right there on it. She wasn't talking about me. She was talking about her terrible mother.
So you don't think she was talking about how you guys broke up and got back together and then broke up again and kind of had that cycle?
Nah.
He was very nonchalant about the fact that he abused her for 8 years and smiled through his discussion and made it clear that the only thing that really hit him hard was when had to pay a lot of money after getting arrested. Money he made Hayden help in paying.
I had a lot to drink, and I got physical with her, and I got arrested, spent the night in jail, and, that's just what happens when you lay hands on women. I think the worst one was, God, that's a big one. It was the one that Alan Jackson, $320K bail. That was a big one, and that one really hit me and my family very, very, very badly. And then after that, I think we went through 6 years, me and Hayden, not a single fight.
The reason people also think he had a hand in Hayden's death is the fact that his and his brother Zach's story keeps on changing. Zach recently made a statement to TMZ, which was slightly off from Brian's earlier claims.
His brother gave us a statement that he texted Brian and Hayden on that Sunday morning, last Sunday, and didn't get a response, went to this Airbnb where they were, and then found Brian, who had just woken up, and Hayden laying in a bed. And Brian then administered Narcan to her.
Shooter, my interest is always piqued, to put it mildly, when I hear somebody say, I woke up and she was dead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's these details, Nancy, that are ultimately going to point us in the right direction here. You're so right. Just one detail can change everything. I listened to that statement from Harvey twice too, because there's a lot of stuff in there and a lot of it doesn't add up. Initially, we were told that she was found in a chair. Now we're being told that she was in the bed. And so I want these people to keep talking.
Lawyers say that the two are basically self-snitching because they can't keep their mouths shut. After all, you're giving both media and law enforcement more fodder to latch onto by giving different statements every 2 seconds.
Shooter already pointed out that in one statement, she's dead in a chair. Another statement, oh, I woke up, she's dead beside me. I didn't know. What? Keep talking. Just keep that camera rolling, Derek.
Yeah, Nancy, I tell my clients, unfortunately, sometimes after the fact, that self-snitching doesn't really help them. I understand that they want to get They want to get their story out there too. They don't want to be villainized. They don't want to look like, anything is because of them. However, just like your previous guest just said, you get them talking, they're going to be inconsistent, especially if the truth is something they're trying to evade. So I generally tell my clients, you know what, let's come into the office, talk with me first before you talk to any media, any law enforcement, anything like that, because you could maybe inadvertently say things that could wind you up into the jail cell.
After all, Hayden's neighbor Mia has made it clear that Brian's abuse was anything but occasional. She heard screaming and fighting multiple times, bad enough that she had to call the police often over the years.
She spoke to Leslie Vogel, Hayden Pannettiere's mother, who has had conversations with the police, who have informed her about what Brian has also told the police about what happened before Zach got there to the apartment. Now, this is very interesting, Nancy. He claims Brian reportedly told police that at 10:30 that Sunday before Hayden died, that she was doing her makeup. And it was seemingly like any other day they were supposed to meet up with Zach. Then Zach is unable to make contact with them, and Brian steps out to go and get something. And he somehow, we don't even know if he interacted with Hayden or not. Presumably he did. It was close quarters. And then they both somehow fall asleep for a nap. So there's really big gaps in that story, because when he comes back from that errand run, what happened there? Did they have a conversation? Did they do some drugs together? That information we don't know yet.
So it's ridiculous to see that his sister still supports him, even after he is proven to be a monster. With a family like that, it's no wonder he grew up like he did. Who's to say she won't be his next target?
Brian Hickerson's half-sister is detailing his ties to Hayden Pannettiere after police confirmed that Brian and his brother Zach Hickerson were present when the Hero star died of an apparent overdose August 16th at the age of 36. Their sister Ashley spoke out about the, quote, massive tragedy while sharing her perspective on her sibling, telling the Daily Mail in an interview August 24th, quote, if I can say one thing about Brian, it's that he's the most charismatic person and he draws you in. I get why Hayden was with him. Brian is just the type of person who can make you laugh no matter what, and he can be fun. Well, after the actress's death, Ashley shared that her family is really feeling this loss, noting that the siblings' father, David Hickerson, is, quote, devastated and has taken the news pretty hard. Panettiere's relationship with Brian began in 2018, while Ashley said of her brother's arrest, quote, we all have our demons. Brian was not raised that way. It wasn't until he got into drugs that he went south. Following his legal troubles, Ashley noted, quote, that he did seek treatment and he was getting help. He did own up to his She added, quote, my family, they are amazing people.
Of course, the police haven't been useless. They have been working to check Leslie Vogel's claims and have started quietly probing into the Hickersons and how involved they were in Hayden's death.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know that the ex-boyfriend was trouble. I mean, he was arrested for DV. And now cops have been arriving at Brian's family's home days after. Cops showed up at Brian and Zach's grandma's house in Greenville for a welfare check days after she was found missing or gone near an Airbnb. 2 cars with Greenville Police Department arrived at the property belonging to Betsy Ellison. An officer approached the residence and reportedly knocked on the front door but received no response. Her colleague tried the side door. We can confirm Zach was home at the time. So again, everything's just looking sus. They're going to the grandmother's, not answering the door. Officers returned about an hour later and went around the back to conduct a welfare check. Though they did not specify the individual or individuals involved, they left 10 minutes later.
While Leslie was slammed for how she handled the statement when her daughter died, the important thing is she has not shied away from suspecting Brian at all.
And so I only think that more and more, the more I hear from her. The statement she released, I think Hayden was an amazingly talented person in so many departments. And I think young people who grow up in the entertainment industry, it is a struggle. It's a very challenging industry, and it's not unusual of them to find the wrong path. I'm waiting for the but, right? And here it is. This person in her life we've been trying to get rid of for quite some time was with her at her death, and that was Brian Hickerson.
Brian and his brother have even lawyered up, possibly in anticipation of a criminal trial. If for nothing else, the fact that soon after his restraining order and court case, he was doing drugs with his ex-girlfriend.
The boyfriend is apparently lawyered up as the police examine his phone and computer. Now, yeah, of course you got to lawyer up. You always got to do this. Now, it always looks suspicious, but you got to do it. And if he doesn't, he's even dumber than he seems. But here's what Rob's reporting. Once a lawyer gets involved, everything changes. He's no longer just answering questions. His attorney is going to control what he says and when he says it. They want the phone because it doesn't forget. It can help establish who he was talking to, where he was, what was happening before Hayden was found. Police are looking closely at the boyfriend because he was part of Hayden's final hours. That does not mean that they have concluded he did anything wrong.
After all, everyone has seen the infamous video of their fight.
Pants with the tan shirt. He's got a missing shoe. Absolute drunk mess. I don't understand what's going on here. But this next clip is pretty disturbing, what he's done in the past, because this is the exact same Brian.
Go home! Go home! Come on, leaders, back on here, Rob. Look at this. Get up! Get up!
Back up! Everybody back up!
Oh, I'm ready for round. Let's go. You know what's up, bitch?
That dude, I know, I'm sorry. I cried.
For now, the DEA has started a deep investigation into Brian's role in her death.
As the coroner's office. And by the way, it's been reported that no cause or manner of death has been determined and that they're awaiting the toxicology results, right? The toxicology test, the toxicology report, which could take some time. And then you couple that with reporting that is now coming out by multiple outlets like Fox, CNN, the New York Times, that the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration, we're talking federal agency here, has joined the investigation.
What do you think? Was Brian Hickerson truly the reason behind her death, or is her mother grasping at straws? If you want to learn more, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.